Having said all of that, the stalwart tonight in a studio here in New York has been Hugh Hewitt. Now imagine, if you will, being Hugh Hewitt. You're A, in New York. B, you're in a studio, and C, you're listening to an evening of Democratic politics. So, Hugh, for the listeners of the 120-odd, not that they're odd, 120 or so stations that carry your broadcast tomorrow, what will your take be? And as honestly as you can put it, what kind of night do you think the Dems had?
Well, there were two nights, Brian. I think that the first night ended right before Cory Booker came on. It was a disaster for the Democrats. A giant vat of acid fell on the Democrats this morning, and Chuck Schumer recognized that at the end of the first day's proceedings in Philadelphia. Said he was worried this morning. I'll come back to that in a moment. I think it's done lasting damage because of the trust issue. But beginning with Cory Booker, who gave a very good speech, and they're rare. He was followed by one of those extremely rare shining speeches. The First Lady's speech reminded me of 12 years ago when her then senator husband took the stage at the Fleet Center in Boston and put one down in the books for the ages. And I think she sort of did that tonight and managed to resurrect enthusiasm in the Democrats, give them some hope of change from the narrative that they'd been stuck in. But basically, like the Republicans lost their first day in 2008 and 2012 to hurricanes, the Democrats lost their first day to the WikiLeaks. Michelle Obama gave it back to them. The First Lady's sparkling speech revived them. I didn't think Elizabeth Warren did much for them. And in fact, the one thing I was missing tonight is they made no appeal to Trump voters in the way that Trump made an appeal to Bernie voters. There was nothing of the reach across the aisle all day. I watched it all. I'm a sucker for this stuff. I can watch Democrats and Republican conventions on an endless loop and be interested in it. But I was surprised that they made no overt play for the center.
Hugh, do you concur with your friends here, Nicole and Steve, that tomorrow this starts to take a turn in tone, and that may be necessary?
It has to. I think that they really have to work on the WikiLeaks problem, because the central problem with Secretary Clinton's candidacy is nobody trusts her. I think it's a 68% negative rating. The WikiLeaks story, put aside the Russian side of it, reinforces that overarching narrative, which, people like Steve Schmidt have to spend years building around your opposition, which is you can't trust her, you can't trust her, and then dump out all of these really kind of despicable emails from the DNC that trade in religious bigotry, that trade in homophobia, that trade in all the stuff that you would think it'd be a parody of a Republican email dump. And so that was an inside rigged game. The word rigged, if it's a drinking game and the word is rigged, everyone is drunk in whatever stadium that is. But it was a very bad day for the Clinton campaign writ large. And I think you've got to work on trust. Someone said you can't fix that. Maybe Chris Matthews said that. They've got to try.
Hugh Hewitt, who has been so patient with us in our fourth floor studio. Thank you very much, Hugh Hewitt.
Welcome.